let's talk about how to use the Pro Mega Plate Reader, the GloMax. Now, this machine does three different things. It measures absorbance, it measures fluorescence, and it measures luminescence. Okay. So absorbance, fluorescence, and luminescence. We've done two of these things already with the other machines. So what makes this unique is that it has the ability to do lots of measurements at once. Okay, so it can do up to 96 measurements at once. That means that it's going to take a little bit more time to set things up. Okay, so the other machines where it does one measurement at a time, easy setup, but you only do one measurement. This one's going to be hard setup, at least in terms of the samples, but then you do a bunch of measurements all at once. I want to start with what kind of plates you use. And for the absorbance measurements, we need to start off with a clear plate. Okay, and by that I mean that the bottom of the plate has to be clear. So here's my clear plate, and you can see it's just plastic with glass bottoms. You can see all the way through it, right? That's good because the way that the machine does the measurement is that it shines a light up from underneath, and then the detectors are all on the top. Okay, so you need to have glass on the bottom, and it's best if you don't want to have really stinky data. It's best to have a flat bottom. Okay, so a flat bottom on your plate. You can probably see this cuvette, as all the wells in it anyway have a flat bottom. We have some around that have a round bottom clear plate, and I don't know why you would make such a thing, but there are some around here that are like. If you're measuring fluorescence, okay, if you're measuring fluorescence, then you probably want to use a black plate. Okay. We don't have a black plate right now. Emma's going to grab one. For luminescence, you want to use a white plate. Okay, so here's the white plate for luminescence. It looks almost like the clear thing when I put it on a white background, but it's just made of white plastic. And then we have black plastic for the fluorescence. And these two things are both they're both solid on the bottom. In fluorescence, the light comes down from the top and then is detected back up toward the top. The machine that we have has fixed wavelengths. So let me give you what those wavelengths are, because it's important to plan your experiment to match those. Okay. So for the fluorescence, we'll do the fluorescence first. The fluorescence works on using these little filter kits. Okay, and so we have several different filter kits. This one excites at 525 and emits at 580 and above. We can excite at 405. Just put all of these on the sheet so it all gets recorded on the video. We can excite at 625. We can excite at 365. Put it on the other side. 365. And the very last one, oh, this is my favorite. Excite at 490 and emit at 510 to 570. Okay, so those are all the different wavelengths we could choose to do fluorescence. All right. For absorbance, the same kind of thing goes. We have limited wavelengths. So, Kingery, what are the wavelengths on the machine over there?
450, 560, 600, and 750.
650, 600, and 750?
700.
700. So 450, 560, 600, and 700.
Sorry, I'm dyslexic.
Okay, well, that works. All right, so any of your experiments that you want to do, those are the wavelengths that we can do absorbance at. We also have some, in addition to that, we can do like 260 and 280, which are important if you want to analyze DNA. Okay. So the idea with the plate reader is we have to work hard ahead of time. So I'll use the black one as my demonstration here. So we want to plan out. Each of these wells will eventually hold a different solution that we're going to do an experiment on. Now the solution might be a standard curve. So it might be a standard. It might be a sample that we don't know the concentration of. So you want to take some time to map out your plate. I think some good practice here is you have 96 wells to work with. So always make multiple wells of the same thing, especially if you have enough sample. If you have a bunch of sample, a bunch of standards, for instance, and you're not using 3 or 4 wells to do the same measurement so you can get some statistics, then you're missing an opportunity. So you want to take the time, map out the well. If you really get into this, then you might want to think about mapping things out across the whole plate, okay, rather than just using one row or one column, that kind of thing. So good plate preparation is important here. I'm going to stop this and then we'll have another video on the instrument itself.